Welcome to this video in which I describe a typical program year in a transformative action unlearning pathway in Gaia University. And you will know already that we use the metaphor of a voyage or a journey for the program altogether, and we can expect that it will be unique for everyone. Indeed, we are likely to see all of the elements or all of the domains expressed by the Sinefin model, in which you can expect to experience periods where things are very simple, other times when things are complicated, times when things change into complex and possibly into the chaos, and even periods of time when we experience disorder. So what I'm planning to do here is to give you something of a map of how things may look at the pattern level, on the full understanding that the map is not the territory. That's a permaculture way of thinking, that we can describe terrain through which you're going to journey, or the seas through which you're going to voyage, to a certain extent with maps, but we have to remember that the map is only a representation of what will actually happen. So, a classic pattern year, which I'm going to represent by a sort of spiral which comes into the year at this point, travels round in a large cycle and exits over here, entry here, exit here. A program year represented by this spiral, interestingly enough, may take place over more than a year. We have a very progressive program pause policy, which means that it's quite possible to extend a program year at least ×2 by being careful about how you use your program pauses. So I'm going to leave you to research program pauses yourself from the associate handbook, but nonetheless it's there, and I'd like you to know that it's a very powerful option for giving you flexibility in the way you manage your program. Now, on entry, we do a couple of key activities. One is that we take a big look backwards. So here's my eye looking backwards, and we call this look backwards the learning. This one is called the life and career review. So that's a look backwards at your life and your career, as it were, and we'll be looking at that in significant detail when we move on to the next module. So I'll say more about that then. We also do a look forward, which is important, which is known as the learning intentions and pathway design, the lipid. So a look forward is critical, and what we're looking forward to is the cycle, this particular cycle, when we look at the lipid. Okay, again, that has its own section in the following module, so we'll look at that in significant detail then. They have code names as well. This one is known as output, OP1A, and this one is OP1B. Okay. Then we follow up with another sort of like spiral, as it were, which we can think of as being output 2. Just change color here. OP2. Okay. That follows later on with OP3. Some of you were asking what OP3 was. Well, here you can see what it is. It's the third large-scale output in the whole cycle, and then there's output 4, takes place over here, and then we go on to output 5, which happens towards an exit, and I'll talk about that one a little bit more in a moment. Okay, so each of these output packets contains several prescribed elements. That is, these are things that you need to do, but the content of these elements, the content of the little containers, is up to you. So what you actually put in the containers is your material, but there are several containers that you need to fill in these output packets, and we'll talk more about that as we get closer to producing OP2. The cycle 1202 or 1202 that we're in at the moment covers this period from more or less here at the beginning. We're currently making our way towards the life and career review and the lipid. Okay, and then whilst we're doing the TALC, the transformative action learning certificate, we'll be reaching to about this point when we do that. So throughout this period you have our full attention and supervision in this regular online way with webinars and so on, before you move into the more open space of this part of the cycle through here. There's still plenty of guidance in here, but it's not scheduled guidance on a weekly or 2-weekly basis. Okay. Now, there are some common challenges that turn up anywhere in this part of the cycle. I'm going to represent them with this little woo line here and say those are going to be the topics of my next couple of videos. I'm going to describe some of the patterns that we've noticed turn up for people in these moments. They may or may not turn up for you, but nonetheless it's useful to know what sort of there be dragons on the way, as it were, that we can predict to a certain extent. Okay, this little eye pattern, the look forward, look backward, that we saw at the very beginning with the life and career review and the learning and intentions pathway, we also do a look back and a look forward for this output 5, which is known as the learning review. Okay, so that does a look back at the whole cycle to make sure that we've harvested as much learning as we can from that. We've summarized what we've done, and then it looks forward onto the next cycle, or it looks forward into the rest of our life post program. Okay, I think that'll do us very well for now, and I'll introduce you to some of the contingency patterns shortly.